Hi everyone, it's Rena. So this video is for Pisces Sun and Rising. This is concerning the Jupiter and Aries transit, which is beginning on May 10th and continuing for several months in 2022, going retrograde back into Pisces, and then going into Aries at the very end of 2022 into 2023. So I'm going to discuss both the Aries transit, but also the current, as I record this, Jupiter in Pisces transit. So Pisces, this is your first house while Jupiter is still in Pisces, and you should have been experiencing something, I don't know, we could say fortunate or expansive in your life as a whole. Maybe it's just a theme of things starting to open up for you. And I will confess that my sun is in Sagittarius, and therefore that is ruled by Jupiter. And when Jupiter was in Sagittarius, all these astrologers were saying how great that was going to be. And I did not experience that fortunate feeling, and other Sagittarians did not as well. So I am kind of reluctant to pump everything up when it comes to these Jupiter transits, because we tend to think of Santa Claus and everything's just going to come our way when we have it in the first house or in the second house, as you're going to have it. But I do remember when Jupiter was in the second house for me, and I did get a significant financial, you could call it a gift, if you will, that came during that period of time. So I can vouch for that. Okay, so that might happen with you, but when it's in Pisces, it's going to be in your first house. One more thing I should note is that how it plays out for you is going to vary from Pisces Sun to Pisces Sun, or Pisces Rising to Pisces Rising, because you all have different degrees of Sun or Rising, and that affects the chart, the way that chart is split up. And I use the unequal house system, so a lot of people use that, and so that really is the case for that kind of a system. So, but it's still helpful because it will still probably, you'll probably still be able to get something from it, because I'm talking about both of these houses. So in the first house, it's a general sense of expansion. And then on May 10th, when Jupiter goes into Aries, that's your second house. And this is the area of the money that you make, but it's also your possessions, your finances in general. And it's also your value system. You know, what is meaningful to you. And, well, I would say it can be more of your ethical system. So, you know, what your beliefs are about what is right and wrong. And I'm giving a shout out to cafeastrology.com, where I am getting my information from, but I kind of like just glanced through this, and I don't see anything about self-esteem, and I've heard that that is also the second house, as well as the food that you eat to nourish your body, and I don't see that here. So I would say both of those areas, that it can be very good if you decide to look at your nourishment. You could probably have the money to eat as well as you want, but it doesn't mean that you have to eat like very rich foods. You might be tempted to, because you might have an uptick in money available, but if you eat like nutrient dense foods, then you will really improve your health that much more, or at least maintain it. But when you have Jupiter in the second house, you could have money coming to you, but you're also going to feel that sense of abundance. And really, that is just as important. People can have $1 million in the bank and still have poverty consciousness. And we know that that happens sometimes. Somebody who's a miser, who is always anxious about money. I have a feeling those kinds of people, unless they came from abject poverty as a child, it's probably some kind of a past life thing. But if you do tend to be a little bit fear-based about money, this should make you a lot more optimistic. And, according to law of attraction, the more we have that sense of feeling better about something, the greater likelihood we have of attracting it. So you can look at it from that angle too. But I think that it's very possible that you will experience good things happening financially regardless. And so if you have any kind of debts, you might be able to pay them off actually, because you might have the money for that. And if you have been wanting maybe some high ticket items, the second house can be possessions, but also like luxury items. This might be the time when you're able to actually swing it and do that. And like I said, this could be like increasing your earning power, but you could receive a gift as well. That's a monetary gift. And also, not only feeling abundant in terms of how much money you have, but you may feel a greater sense of self-worth. And I always joke about like the second house is your net worth and your self-worth. And in the United States, which is a Western nation, there's a lot of materialism here because there's a lot of money here. And so sometimes people equate their self-worth with their net worth. And that is a dangerous thing to do because we know that all material things are temporary. And sometimes within a single lifetime, you can have quite a fluctuation in your income. So the ability to value yourself regardless is very helpful because then you don't identify with temporary things. And that's the ultimate gift that you can give to yourself when you think about it. And given that Jupiter has a tendency to go overboard, watch for your spending because you may spend too much. And then, all of this extra money that you may get will be going up in smoke. Cafe Astrology mentions that if there are trines from Jupiter to planets in the sixth, I'll just read exactly what they say. If Jupiter trines planets in the sixth and or 10th houses, this is also a very favorable period for success in the work that you do. So that's because the trine is very cooperative and it opens the doors for things to flow more easily and to manifest more easily from the sixth house, which is the work that you do. And I think that especially with that trine, you can have work that is meaningful to you and that you actually enjoy. With the 10th house, it can be the success factor of that work. Okay, well, I just want to give you the dates of these transits in the retrograde and the direct period. So Jupiter goes into Aries on May 10th. It goes retrograde on July 28th at 8 degrees of Aries. It goes direct on November 23rd at 28 degrees of Pisces. And then it goes back into Aries on the 20th of December. So right before the winter solstice, you have Jupiter going back into that second house for you, which is, that symbolism of the sun coming back up, your finances coming back into your coming back online in a big way when Jupiter is direct, when Jupiter goes back into that second house, I mean. So then in 2023, it continues in Aries. All right, Pisces, that's what I have for you. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.